Hello there. Thank you for joining us on Journalist Hangout on Sunday. I am Kemi Fola Adeyemo. Today on the program, we shall be discussing APC's extension of the caretaker committee's tenure, as well as the committee suspending Godswill Akpabio as leader. Also, Niger State forms a special squad to rescue kidnapped islamiyah school children as Governor Sani Bello blames foreign mercenaries for banditry and kidnapping. And later on the show, Niger Delta leaders issue a 3-month ultimatum to the federal government over restructuring. I'll be hanging out today with Mojid Jamiu and Emeka Madunagu. Gentlemen, happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
Congratulations. You have all seen first half of the year 2021. Welcome to the program. Well, if you're ready, Journalist Hangout starts now. So it's a one-part at the back and then a tenure elongation. Well, that's the reward for a job well done for the Governor Mai Mala Buni-led National Caretaker and the Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee of the All Progressives Congress, which was put in place on June the 25th, 2020. Well, that tenure is now expected to end when there is an executive committee of the party. President Muhammadu Buhari, who supported the move, said APC is doing well at the moment. Meanwhile, the APC's Presidential Support Committee has suspended its national coordinator, Senator Godswill Akpabio, over what the group describes as poor leadership. Now, that's how we begin the program today. Politics. Mojid Jami, what are your sentiments on this tenure elongation for the Buni-led Caretaker Committee?
Well, you can see that there was an endorsement from the president to the committee during his now renowned interview that he granted to one of the TV stations, where he commended the committee for being able to initiate a new party registration from ward to national level. Whereby the president hinted that he would be receiving the report of the committee at the end of the month, and that actually happened on Friday, where he also approved an extension of the tenure of the caretaker committee led by the Yobe State Governor Mohammed Buni, and also endorsed the dates fixed for the congresses at the ward, local government, and state level, while saying that so the ones for the zonal and the national congress or convention will be held at a later date before the end of the year. So it's not unexpected that the president will endorse it because, as it were, they are yet to have what they have at all the states, from the ward to the even national level, are just caretaker committees. So until they are able to get new executives, substantive executives, I think the ward executive elections will hold on July 24. That of the local governments, I think August 24. While that of the state will hold on September 18. So until they do that, I think since the sack of, rather removal of sack of Oshiomhole on June 25, 2020, Buni has held sway, and he was able to convince the president that his leadership has been able to increase the number of governors in the APC fold, serving governors in the APC fold by 2, that of Dave Umahi and Ben Ayadi of Cross River, and also recently a senator, Nwabushi, although rather controversial because they say he's battling some EFCC cases. So basically, I think the president said he's happy with them, but how that will take the ruling party, we will know as we approach. We'll soon know as we approach 2023. They are scheming, really. They are scheming, and the PDP is also watching. So I think they should hold their house together and ensure that they have a very strong executive which will emerge from the wards to the national level.
Right. Emeka, what's your take? Mai Mala Buni has rated his caretaker committee 95%. The president also seems impressed. Some have said it's more of a common sense decision in extending the tenure. But for you, how has it been?
Well, I don't know where Mai Mala Buni got the 95% assessment from, because the defection of governors has been a regular thing since 1999. It's not a new thing. So it's not as if maybe he did anything, he reinvented the wheel, or he did his rocket science. You know, governors will defect based on interest. Politics is a game of interest. It's not about the fact that Mala Buni is the caretaker chairman. Then the governors are his best friends or his family members and they love him so much. Then they decided to go into APC. It's about their interests. And don't forget also, these governors who defected have issues in their states, you know, so they feel they will be better protected, you know, coasting home to 2023, you know, hiding under APC, but that remains to be seen. And then talking about the senator, of course, that senator, I don't think is a big catch. He just, we saw the former governor of Delta State who defected, he's back in the PDP. You know, and some people who defected are back in the PDP. So politics is a game, it's about interest. You know, so the point is this, you see, Mala Buni shouldn't have gone to the extreme of 95% because I don't know what his margin of error is. I mean,
maybe 70 will have been ideal for him.
No, you should have even made it 40 because one, you started this assignment on June 20, 2020, last year.
A year later.
Right? Over a year later, you've still not been able to achieve 70% reconciliation in the party. You've still not been able to get the party together, you know, at different levels. We saw what happened in Lagos, the local government congresses. We saw what happened. The primaries, we saw what happened. The APC primaries. So, if you have achieved 95% reconciliation, people won't be pointing guns. Members of the same party won't be pointing guns at each other. They won't be fighting each other. Rather, there will be amity, you know. There will be that oneness because, oh, we want to preserve the fold. So, and then going further, the main problem is getting a consensus national chairman. Because which zone is going to take it? You have thrown open the presidential, you know, ticket. Okay, some say, okay, it's the turn of the Southeast. And the Southeast have been warming up. Suddenly, you see the North Central is showing interest. People in the Northeast are showing interest. People in the Southwest are showing interest. So, who is interested in going for national chairman? Even the Northwest, where the president comes from, has people who are also showing interest. So, nobody is really interested in, no zone is really interested in presenting somebody for national chairman, because if you don't get the presidential ticket, you could get the vice presidential ticket.
Absolutely.
And of course, we know that in the hierarchy of the party, that number one, number two, president, vice president, number one, number two. So they're just trying to buy time to see if maybe somehow they can, okay, maybe convince one or two zones to say, okay, why not defer your, you know, your presidential ambition till maybe 2027, let's see how we can compensate your zone with certain positions, with certain things in between, you know. But again, in the states, the party still needs to do a lot in terms of reconciliation. Even its key, even its pillars, some of its pillars are not happy with certain things going on in the party. You know, key pillars of the party. Then at the same time, on the same occasion, you are suspending somebody who risked so much, left the PDP and moved to the APC. I'm talking of Gosila Padio.
Right.
Moved to the APC.
Okay.
You know?
I want you to just shelve that for now.
Okay.
Of course, I like the direction you are heading because it's actually part of our subjects for discussion. But I want Moji Jamiu to also respond to the issue of how well Mai Mala Buni and the rest of the caretaker committee have fared in reconciliation moves. They say that the party is now more peaceful, more accommodating, more united, with greater prospects than when they came on board.
Well, there will be conflicts, and there will always be room for resolution, especially in a political party. But then, just like Emeka said, I don't agree with the 95%. I mean, it's no, it's way too far within. 95%, with 95%, then you should be preparing to hand over to somebody. Now you have not even started congresses. Fine, you might say that you have concluded registration exercise and you have succeeded in bringing 2 governors to the party. But then, I once said on this program that those 2 governors that have come into the party, they are governors who are serving their last and second term. Yeah, they don't have anything at stake. Yeah. Rather, they are trying to position themselves for ministers, as far as I'm concerned, if APC wins in 2023, because they are coming from a state where they are likely going to lose relevance. Like in the case of Cross River, for example, Ben Nayade is likely to lose relevance post 2023. So
because of his shifting base?
Yes. In fact, apart from shifting base.
Not just that, no.
Even for him to run he's not sure of getting to run on a ticket
to
get to the Senate. In the Senate. So he's trying to play the Akpabio game, where Akpabio lost senatorial and it was compensated with a ministerial appointment. So he's trying to dice his game. I mean, it's trying to watch. It's like playing a card. Trying to see whether an ace will come up for him for the case of Ben Ayade. And same thing with Umai. I will only congratulate APC. I mean, if I see a governor who is in his first term from a PDP-dominated state, I mean, crossing to APC mid-term now, and he knows that he still has a second term to fight for. Then there's somebody like Seyi Makinde, it is being rumored, if Seyi Makinde moves from PDP today to APC, then I will say congratulations to APC, because he knows that he has another term which might be in the back for him through PDP, but going to APC, he will need to fight for even the governorship ticket. So, but in the case of those 2 other governors,
like we sasaw Obaseki do,
like Obaseki. So, it's neither here nor there. I won't say kudos to Buni. Yes, he was able to reconcile some, but then there are more crises, like the case of Samfara Kebbi now. I mean, we just had a serious crisis brewing in Kebbi. I mean, Kebbi is an APC state. Like Samfara, APC lost Samfara because of internal crisis they could not manage. From 100% APC state, it turned 100% PDP from local government to the state level, just because they couldn't manage inter-party affairs. But then that is not to say that the PDP is also immune from a party crisis. But the stakes are higher in APC because the pot is bigger, the cake is bigger. The presidency is so large, with about 2,500 agencies and MDAs. There is about 6,000 political appointments that could be used to compensate frayed nerves. So, for Buni, I won't say.
It's still too soon.
Although I won't be as mean as Emeka to 40%.
You would rather move
60-70%.
But you lost a governor. You lost a governor.
Okay. All right. So that said, now, Mr. Akpabio's sins, according to this committee that is an umbrella body of President Buhari's support groups, Mr. Akpabio is said to have abandoned the committee, the organization, after his ministerial appointment. Poor leadership, they call it. And you think that is not deserving of this quote and unquote, this poor leadership that the group has slammed on him?
No, Akpabio's own, we're just talking of Akpabio's own. See what happened in Anambra yesterday. The Minister of Labour, Ngige, was saying that at 4:45 p.m. there was no sign of primaries, but later a governorship candidate was declared. I mean, when you treat a serving minister like that, then what do you talk about ordinary member.
Please let me put you on hold. Our first caller from Cross River State, Brex. I apologize if I didn't get the correct pronunciation of your name.
My name is Mr. Briggs. Mr. Briggs from.
You're most welcome, Mr. Briggs. Carry on, please.
Cross River.
You're welcome. Carry on, Mr. Briggs.
Yes. Actually, I want to apologize, sir, with respect. So that man does not read politics. If he say two governors will go because they are serving their second term, so they are not important. That's a very big miscalculation. How can a governor move with all the chairmen, move with all commissioners, move with all the special advisors and all that, and he's in charge of the economy of the state, and they are telling me it's not important, unless when he's doing first term before it's important. It means it's not even no politics. Nigerian police, as a matter of fact. There is no way that change will not affect the big advantage to the party in the next election. That's the focus. The next election is the focus. So they are moving from there. No matter even if they have 1 month to go, with all the members they are going with the people they are going with. Remember, the governor is paying people in that state. He has so much state people working with him that he's moving with. And he thinks 100 person will service you can vote for 100 person in that election. That's a big miscalculation.
All right. Mr. Briggs, thank you very much for airing your opinion. Of course, this table here making permutations, speaking to these events as they occur. Of course, you are most welcome to have a contrary opinion, but that doesn't stop the conversations flowing here, of course. Thank you very kindly.
No, let's look at Gombe. Gombe in 2019, the governor was PDP, totally PDP. But at the end of the day, the governor was pushed aside by the heavyweights in the party, who insisted that this is the governorship candidate we want. These are the senatorial candidates we lost. PDP lost that state to APC. He had a governor. Look at Oyo State. It was an APC state. But yes, but you see, politics 24 hours is a long time, and anything can happen. Even those special advisors, commissioners, and others can betray you. They can be running with you, but they are running. Somebody would like to run his own show. So I'm not surprised if they say, okay, that Akpabio has been, lukewarm about activities. I mean, Niger Delta minister, controlling a ministry, overseeing, is it not 9 states? That is a super minister. So definitely, maybe I'm not. Bigger than that committee. Remember what he outfit that will be propagating, that will be saying things for him. So you don't treat somebody like that just because he has not been a member of a committee. And this committee is not an organ of the party. Sorry. Just because he has not been serious with his activities. This committee is not an organ of the party. It's just one quasi body. Why would you now treat people like this? Why would you? That is part of the problem. Some years back, somebody talked about use and dumb. That's a major problem in politics in Nigeria. You use people, you dumb them. You mess up somebody like Akpabio when you are coasting home towards 2023. Because let me tell you something. Now, between now and the end of the year, is what you have remaining for real governance. Once we get into January 2022, politics will take the center stage. Hustling, horse trading, and all kinds of things take center stage. So if you're expecting politicians to come and fix road for you and all that, you have to really drag them by their coattails.
Let me check with the analysis of Mojid Jami. It's also been argued that Mr. Akpabio hasn't really pulled the weight that he promised he would pull, being a former key PDP member and coming to the southern zone, moving ship now to the APC since his defection. So there might be a link to his the controversy about him heading the APC in Akwa Ibom State, and now with this issue with the this APC committee. Now, what are your opinions? Do you see a link? Do you see this as, natural consequences of the preambles surrounding Mr. Akpabio?
No, what we are seeing unfolding now are build-ups towards 2023 in natural facts. But then, to me, the PSC, the Presidential Support Committee, it has no force, so to say. It's of no consequence, the suspension or removal or whatever of Akpabio, because it is, like Emeka said, it's not a youth wing of APC or a caucus of APC. So if the APC in Akwa Ibom now wakes up today and Buhari support organization or Buhari or Shibajo support organization or something like that, it's not just like hundreds of such committees in all the parties. But like I said, if it's not coming, if the suspension is not coming from his ward or local government or state, APC, with that banner, APC, then it's of little of no consequence. But then that's not this mandate from the Niger Delta Avengers to constitute the board of
the NDDC.
And he had to go and meet with government Tompolo, to actually plead with him to extend that. So Akpabio should really come alive to his responsibility as a minister and as a leader in the South. Because I see no reason why we should still continue to have, because these are some of the things. You are in a position where, you can't continue to, now he is representing the president in the supervision of that NDDC, the Niger Delta Development Corporation. So it's the person supervising that ministry on behalf of the president. So he ought to have constituted a real board for that NDDC, but he has not done that.
Okay, so still a lot on Godswill Akpabio's plate. We'll see how the coming days, weeks, and more will count for his leadership in that saddle. In the meantime, we move on to yet another issue, critical, talking about security. A community afflicted by a strange disease must think out of the box to tame it. And so, inundated by banditry and kidnapping, the Niger state government has formed a special security squad to ensure the safe return of the abducted Tejina Islamiyah school children. Governor Abubakar Sani Bello, who addressed the special squad of combined security personnel, says the time has come for the state government to take decisive action to end banditry in the state. And he promised to give all the support to enable the implementation of security strategies to ensure the safe return of the abducted children. Meanwhile, Governor Bello says most of the bandits terrorizing parts of the country are, quote, hired mercenaries from outside Nigeria. And he says Nigerians must take decisive steps to frustrate these foreign mercenaries' plan to forcibly change our normal lifestyle, as he put it. Emeka, what do you make of this moves by the governor?
You remember this was the same governor who said we should take bandits, we should try to be lenient with bandits. You see, you can't be running with a hare, hunting with a hound. These governors should make up their minds. Where do they stand on this problem of insecurity? Just last Sunday, I got information that the villagers in Galadima village, in Shiroro local government, they fled. They started fleeing the village when they saw, 3 Hilux vans, filled with mobile policemen, leaving the area. So the people fled. I got photographs, I got videos, so the villagers were interviewed, and they left the place. So the issue is this. Yes, he's forming an outfit, which he ought to have done a long time ago. He shouldn't have waited for it. This thing started in just a ward in Shiroro local government. And then now it has spread to many parts of the state, government spaces in the state. And it's been said here a number of times that we need to get the citizens to buy into this thing, to buy into this security, into every plan that you need to use to end this insecurity. Then again, I must say this. President Buhari, when he said he wanted to deal with the smuggling of rice, you saw what he did. He shut the borders. He took certain steps. Now you see local rice has become, very, very attractive to Nigerians. We talk about it a lot. A lot of people consume it. So why not take that state of emergency in security? Declare state of emergency in security. Pumping resources. Get a combined team. Let the military, the police, civil defense, and all of that sit down and map out better strategies. You understand? Map out better strategies so that they can effectively clear these bandits. Because as at 3-4 years ago, it was said, I think the Inspector General of Police has said that a breakaway faction from Boko Haram, Ansaru, had moved down to the North Central to continue with terrorism. Now, these guys have moved into the bushes here and there. So what it means is that since we've been able to deal with Boko Haram to a large extent, apply that same firepower to the places where these terrorists are. President Buhari is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. He should bring down the weight of the government on all these terrorists, so that on these bandits or terrorists, bring down the full weight of the law. But you must also work with the citizens in setting up a special squad. Get the citizens to buy into it. They'll give you information. They need a lot of intelligence. Then you don't just, arbitrarily move security personnel and then create a panic. You see people running in different directions, running away from Galadima. And one other very important thing is this. You see how the price of food items have been rising in the market. A lot of farming communities have been abandoned. Understand, over 400,000 farmers have fled their communities in different places. Look at the resultant effect. Rising food prices. I mean, you say it's foreign mercenaries. I don't care whether they are mercenaries from hell. I don't care whether they are mercenaries from wherever. These guys are enemies of the nation. Deal with them. Stamp them out. Central African Republic and Chad are facing a similar problem. Russian mercenaries. Killing soldiers, killing villagers. So, but you don't just fold your arms and say, okay, because they are foreign mercenaries, then you look helpless. Draw up a solid Marshall Plan with the commander-in-chief and get these guys out. Crush them, destroy them, and make the country safer.
Mojeed Jamiu, at the tail end of Emeka's analysis now, it also reverberates with comments that align with the outcry on these attacks on schools, saying foreign mercenaries are behind these attacks. Somebody even asked, is there a law that says because they are foreign mercenaries we cannot tackle them as a country? And why are schools being targeted? Why haven't we seen adequate security measures, all that will entail fencing and every other adequate security measures to protect our schools? What do you think?
You see, what the Niger State governor has done is commendable, but then he cannot do it alone without...
Okay, let me pause you once again. Let's invite Khalid from Kaduna State. Happy Sunday to you. Please join the conversation.
Yeah, good afternoon and happy Sunday. Demi, and Mojeed and Mr. Emeka, I greet you.
Good afternoon.
Please, I want to contribute. Please, I want to make a contribution regarding the APC Caretaker Committee. Because sometime last month, because the APC, I think they are not united in a way. They are not united because sometime last month, the APC primary for the chairman and local government chairman and councillors. We saw what happened. We went to the primary, but unfortunately, they didn't bring any result sheet. So people were bitter that the primary would not hold if there is no result sheet. That was how it ended, and the primary did not hold. And just imagine, just on the 19th of this month, the vacant seat of the former speaker, Abdullahi Shagali, was vacant. So the PDP won that seat due to their negligence. It was carelessness. People are tired. Imagine, even the elections, few people came. Even my polling unit, there were only 39 people that came out to vote. Some polling units, as low as 19 people came out to vote. So it's nothing. We are not seeing any impact. People are tired.
All right, thank you so much, Khalid, for sharing that perspective with us. Let's continue with our conversation on security.
Like I said, the Niger State governor or government needs to seek the support of the federal government in tackling the security situation. It's not because it does not control the military. It does not control the DSS or other security apparatus. So it's something that will be holistic. But then security is something we can't discuss fully on national television. But the earlier we tackle this matter, the better for all of us. Like Emeka said, it's affecting agriculture. It's affecting education. The students of this islamiyah school were adopted since May 30th, and 15 of the teachers, from Niger State, 15 of these teachers escaped from Zamfara. They took them to Zamfara. You can imagine the distance between Niger and Zamfara. So the more time you live, the more space you live, then the more difficult it gets in trying to trail these people. So if you are setting up a security task force to trail those abducted from Niger State, for example, these guys are already in Zamfara. So that's why you need the federal, we need a national security network to tackle banditry and kidnapping, especially at the scale at which we are seeing. Almost all the states in the north now, and are affected, except a few. So, and I expect that government will tap into the crisis between ISWAP and Boko Haram now to, further weaken their base. And see, now about 3 or 4 days ago, the military succeeded in dealing with some of the going after them, some of the kidnappers. Inflicting so much damage on them. But that kind of attack should be sustained to push them back, or to even to weaken them and eliminate some of these guys. Although unfortunately there were some civilian casualties. Some of the kidnapped victims lost their lives. But so unfortunate. So we need to also improve the security at the hostels, because now that we know that this has become schools have become boarding schools have become targets, we need to increase security in those areas. Absolutely. Especially for those schools that are in the outskirts of the town. These are things that happen. We know their models of operandi. They normally start like that, and also get local vigilantes to join in the combing of those environments, and in even logistics to always report strange movements. And you encourage such people by giving them some token or what have you, so that they can continue to come up with source information that could lead to a stop in this banditry. We cannot continue like this. That's why we've had foodstuff prices going up on a daily basis. A bucket of a basket of tomato now.
Tomatoes.
Yes, a bag. A bag of beans, for example, from 28,000 to 70,000. I saw the report here on TVC. So the market survey shown about a week ago. It's not funny. And it might continue if these things are not checked. So the efforts of the federal government through the anchor borrower scheme, by improving the growing of local grains like rice and what have you, is being defeated, because at a point the bandits were collecting ransom from the farmers before they could go and harvest, and now they don't even allow the farmers to get to their farms any longer. So
we're seeing a rippling effect of the level of insecurity on the economy.
Yeah.
Also, as if that is not bad enough, there is also the effect of this insecurity on the education sector.
Yeah.
At least a substantial amount of out-of-school children, 69% of the 10.5 million come from the north.
Many schools have shut down in the north.
Indeed, and understandably so. I think we can understand the average parent sentiments.
They lost. You know how many times we were lost last year to COVID-19.
Yeah.
And then this is,
let's accommodate Mr. Sheson from Lagos here. Apologies, Emeka. Right. Please carry on. You're welcome to the program.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Carry on, please.
Oh yeah, I want to contribute to the topics you have been speaking about. Some that took over from a democratic for over a year of the issue in the party. It's as simple as that. And
but back to the subject of because reports are saying on the globe can operate in safety.
Serious about, deliberately, intentionally be making for children. Not serious. So why did? So definitely it was in the Dapchi case. They broke the. You have to and stop this situation because he of the people is in the security agencies that raise their game. The most children from FGC Yari that nobody is even talking to children who go to school. Here, it's traumatic because imagine the
governor and we've the creation of this part so much of
what we need as it comes to implementation to another for us. So mapping takes place on no farmlands, and that we must. The federal government must ensure. Adequate protection of lives and property in all the states of the federation going forward.
And then just to add to it, what is the intelligence response team headed by DCP Abakari? What is it doing? Then I hope the governor is in touch with Attorney General Obaka Malami, so that tomorrow you don't hear somebody saying that no that outfit is illegal because of this and that and the other. I think the governor should actually go to the presidency and sit down with the officials of the presidency and say, this is what I want to do. Please let us iron it out.
As I said, it's not something you can do alone.
Yes.
All right. That said, let's talk restructuring now. This time around, leaders from the Niger Delta region are bent on a restructured Nigeria. After a meeting where they made some demands, the Niger Delta leaders issued a 3-month ultimatum to the federal government to restructure the country and reconvene a national dialogue, saying this dialogue must comprise representatives of all ethnic groups to chart a new course for the country. And they vowed to resist oppressive and repressive tendencies against the region. All right, so of course that.
Yeah, they actually look like devolution of power, security. The militant arm, they might go back to the momentum. Now west, south, even the north. Some critical stakeholders in the north are saying that we need to restructure. Wale Soyinka granted an interview recently where he also spoke about restructuring, which is said is very key. While they are not advocating for a breakup like some people would say, but they are saying that for our 2023 to be real and not to be evasive, we need to restructure now so that we won't have to sit down and in a more difficult to discuss a more difficult thing in future. So basically, I think the federal government should listen to some of these serious concerns coming from various groups across all geopolitical zones on the need for us to restructure this entity called Nigeria in terms of, devolution of power, security, even the economy. Some of these things should be discussed. We need to judge on critical issues that affects Nigeria as a nation state. We are getting to that critical point.
And talking about one of the key demands, by the Niger Delta leaders, of course, as Mojid has said, this issue of devolution of powers across the states, and we have seen that also reflecting across the geopolitical zones where the National Assembly Constitutional Review held. That also seems to it replicated across the zones. But the president has spoken out on this recently where he was addressing the Ijaw National Congress. He said the issue is for the National Assembly. So once they are done with their deliberations, they present to him. It's not on his desk yet, he says. But, how do you view all the back and forth on this age-old subject of restructuring.
Even the British who colonized Nigeria, they realized before Nigeria's independence that they had made a mistake. They realized they made mistakes in certain areas. That was why they set up the Willings Commission in 1959. It was about giving the Niger Delta a better day. Then it wasn't even known as the Niger Delta. In 1960, Nigeria became independent. So we need to go back to the people who colonized us, realized they made a mistake. We inherited that faulty structure that they handed over to us. Why are we not now talking about doing something about that structure? We have seen it, we've seen it that you cannot continue with this amorphous structure of a federal police, for instance.
It's not working.
You're talking about, okay, community policing. How do you define community policing? You go back to when we had the regions. The regions controlled their police. You go back to what even led us to having a centralized police. Go back. Study these things. How did we get here? Now, how has it helped us? These things have not helped us. So we must do something about it. We must tinker, with this thing. If the Niger Delta is talking about restructuring, of course, the president in one of the interviews he granted recently commended the Niger Delta leaders that they had been cooperating with his administration. So to me, I believe it should not be difficult for him to give a listening ear to these leaders. You see, we must cultivate a deliberate policy of listening to people's grievances. We must stop this idea. I mean, both the government, those governing us, and the citizens. We must stop this idea of stifling grievances. When people are unhappy about the situation, make sure you address this situation. Give a listening ear to it. Give a listening ear and consider whether this thing is possible immediately in the medium term or long term. But not to say, no, what they are talking about, we won't listen to them.
Let me quickly bring in, yes. I'll get back to you, please. Let me bring in Abdul, from Kaduna State. Welcome.
Abdul, my name is Abdul. Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, my name is Abdul from Zaria.
From Zaria, you're welcome. From Zaria, yeah. Carry on.
Okay, please, I would like to give a kind of, I'm not actually contributing to the topic. It's something that concerns government, which I just want to take the attention of TVC. If they could try to investigate what I want to say, please.
All right, go on.
Let's go.
All right. Of course, please continue to bring in your contributions. We also love to hear your perspectives. But back to the studio.
No, what I'm talking about is this. We must not dismiss the grievances. And then equating the call for structuring to secession or breakup will not help us. Because, you see, we even in your home, there are times you restructure the setting of your furniture. You restructure things. So human existence is progressive, is organic. It is not stuck in one corner that, okay, this is how we've been doing it and how we'll continue to do it. You will end up destroying the system. So what I'm talking about is that if the Niger Delta leaders are making this, demand, and then President Buhari should sit down and listen to them. The demands have come from all over the country. And then a group of people now saying Niger Delta Avengers, they will destroy the economy. I mean, which one do we prefer? Are we now, with all the problems of insecurity across the nation, are we now going to carry troops again, aircraft and all of that, tanks, and go to Niger Delta? And then the entire country will now just be one battle zone, one battleground. I think we can avoid that. Dialogue. You say, okay, it's just the National Assembly. Yes, the National Assembly is important.
Okay.
But again, you must get the National Assembly to see it as a duty to make this country better. Not when you are considering bills that have nothing to do with improving the conditions of Nigeria.
All right, that said, Chris, you're welcome from Lagos here.
Good afternoon, audience.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, this is my contribution to the issue. I've been listening to your program. Hello.
Yes. Please go on. We can hear you.
All right. So let me tell you something. A father with so many children, you cannot force your children to do the same thing. Every son or daughter of yours have their own choice of life. And any lifetime you force them against their wish, they will go behind you and do what pleases them. That is exactly what is happening to Nigeria. All our faces are different. Our desires are different. I think the government needs to listen first. Then where we are the citizens are making mistakes, then the government will correct us. But in a position whereby the government...
All right. Okay, so that
basically
the beats from what I picked from him is also the same thing that Emeka talked about, the listening ear of the government. Could that be the problem with the Niger Delta Avengers? They're accusing the selected oil installations of conniving with the federal government against the interests of their region. Yeah, there has been a crisis in that place in terms of development, giving back to the community in terms of given the fact that a lot of Nigeria is making a lot of money from that area, but most people there are living in penury. So also one of the charges they give to government, the Niger Delta elders, is the fact that they also told their governors to set up a South-South security outfit to ensure that the wave of banditry that is seen in other parts of the country, they don't experience such in the Niger Delta, although they also claim that they can tackle any form of banditry that comes. But in terms of the restructuring, really, there is no better time to embark on that by the federal government, because the cry for the restructuring now is coming from all strata of the Nigerian Federation, the South-South, South-West, South-East, all the geopolitical zones. So even leaders of thought have come together to discuss the need for us to sit down on a table and discuss. You can't continue to live on the same constitution on this. Times are evolving, things are changing, and we must change with time. We can't continue to live on is it 1999 constitution now that is almost outdated. Some of the penalties stipulated against some offenses are quite ridiculous. That's why the rate of crime is high. So we need to look at some of these things so that we have a better country that we can all call Nigeria. Yes. Anke Briggs, who spoke on behalf of the group of the Niger Delta leaders, is saying if at the end of 90 days nothing comes forth on this issue of restructuring, the region will carry out its threat of freedom, for the region. How apt is that in, the current state of affairs in Nigeria?
Well, that's easier said than done. It's not just easy to call out, to declare your own state or what have you. IPOB has been on it for quite some time. Indeed. And some people have been mounting Oduduwa Republic too, but it's not as easy as that. Leaders of thought will come to say that reason must prevail. Yeah. But like Emeka said, you see, you can't beat a child and deny that child the
right to cry.
Yes. So you must listen to all these groups and harmonize a position that will favor all of us.
Gentlemen, I must thank you both, Emeka Amadunagu and Mojeed Jamiu. Thank you so much for your robust contributions on the table here at Journalist Hangout on TVC News Sunday special. And thanks to you all for those who contributed and those who kept us company, watching along. Don't forget to join us tomorrow for the regular episode of the program at 5 p.m. You can also watch the repeat broadcast of this program tonight at 11:30 p.m. We're on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. From all of us here, thanks again for staying with us. I'm Kemi Foladeyemo. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.